Hi everyone, Leanne here from Jaded Blossom, and I'm going to assemble the new Gnome Dies Santa Sleigh add-ons. So there it is, it's called Gnome Dies Santa Sleigh. I'm going to use the gnome dies and using that hat, and you might want to get the Gnome Dies Christmas add-on ones for this Santa hat if you wanted an option. So these are the pieces that I have. I'm using P13 Stamping Pad Skin Tones and Doodlebug's 6-inch Tinsel Time. So first I'm going to assemble my little sled. This pattern paper is from Doodlebug's pad, the Tinsel Time again. You can use whatever Doodlebug pad you have. I'm just using a red print, my Barely Art glue. Now the base I cut out of American Crafts black cardstock, but it won't show, it doesn't matter, use what you like. Now the edge of this sleigh I cut out of Gmund Tindalo Woodgrain cardstock. I've also heard it pronounced Gmund. I'm not sure which way you say it, but it's just a wood grain craft cardstock, and I'm going to add that along the edge. I think this sled is super cute. Now the little, I guess, braces for the bottom of the sled is cut out of that same color of American Crafts cardstock. You could easily slip those or skip those two pieces if you didn't want to, save yourself some time. Next, I'm going to put on, this is Silver Mirror cardstock from Recollections. And I'm going to add that on as the bottom of the sled, and I will weight it down with an acrylic block. Next, we have a little sack of toys cut out of American Crafts brown cardstock and black cardstock. So this was a really easy little put together, right? It's super cute, and I do weight it down with an acrylic block as well. Next, there are 3 sizes of presents, and I'm going to add my little bows to them all and ribbon. The ribbon and the bows were cut out of American Crafts red cardstock, and then the pattern paper of the presents, those all came from Doodlebug's Tinsel Time 6-inch pad. So I'm using my embellishment wand to pick up small pieces, reverse tweezers, Barely Art glue. All my die cutting was done with my Anna Griffin Empress machine, all the things I always do. So here we go. I'm going to add on the ribbon to this one. It's pretty straightforward. You could see which way it fits according to the notch in the ribbon. There, adding my little center there. There are 3 different centers, but really you could use any of the centers on any of them. No one would know, right? But there are 3 different centers. And here's my last little present. Now remember, you could use these presents separately on a card, just as you could use the sled separately, or Santa's sleigh and his bag of toys separately. You could even use the sitting gnome that I'm going to assemble separately on a card if you really wanted to. Right? It's kind of like a side view version of your little gnome, which is fun. Okay, and now this one has a top to the present, like a box top. And I also cut that out of pattern paper from that same Tinsel Time 6-inch pad. So I'm going to add on the top, and isn't this cute? Super cute stuff. Now next I'm going to assemble this little gnome. Now if you wanted to save time, you could have cut the base out of whatever color you wanted his hat to be, right? And then just, not put a hat over top. But for this one, I decided to add the hat. The hat was cut out of that same American Crafts red cardstock, and then the base is American Crafts black cardstock. So you'll see what I'm doing here, putting it together really quickly. You don't have to dress this up as Santa. He could just be a little gnome. You could dress him up however you like, sitting sideways, right? So, you could give him a patterned shirt and patterned pants, whatever you want. Okay, so now I have my little shoes. This little edge is the shoe behind that front shoe. And then there's a tiny little piece that shows his pants on the other side, right there. And that is the piece that fits in there. Now you could skip that easily if you wanted to, right? But, it fills it in. Okay, so now there are little arms cut out of American Crafts black cardstock and then the red cardstock as well. And you've got 2 options for hands. You could have little bare hands. I'm going to use P13 Stamping Pad Skin Tones. Remember, that's available over at the Jaded Blossom store, usually under Fun Extras. And you could also make little mitts, little Santa mitts. Now, if you wanted to, there's a fur trim on the Santa mitt. You could easily just add that fur trim to the edges of the little coat arms on this if you wanted to, and just have bare hands with the furry edge, right? See? There, you could do that if you wanted to. But they're actually meant to go on the mitts. So I did make my mitts black, and I'm going to add the white little edge. There we are. So that's that is American Crafts white cardstock and American Crafts black cardstock. So there we are. And super cute, right? So there are the little mitts, and you could cover his little hands with the mitts. So now I'm going to put together my little guy. So remember, you could have just put these layers right on the base. You didn't have to add on that body layer if you didn't want to, right? But I thought I'd use all the pieces. So I'm going to add on my little beard. That's American Crafts white cardstock. And I'm just going to slip that in. There we go. So there's his little beard. You can see where his little nose goes. It's kind of sticking out past the side there. I do weight it down. Now there's a little black piece that you can put the nose and the mustache on. I guess if you wanted to pop up the entire thing, right? It also gives you the placement. Now, but for me, I'm just going to pop up the nose itself. And that's P13 Stamping Pad Skin Tones again with the Stampin' Up! Dimensional. They're little mini ones. And I got to put it the right direction. There we are. And then I realized I got a little bit of something sticky on the nose. And now I will glue that down onto my little gnome. Now you can put it where you want. And I'm just trying to line it up where I think it goes. And there we go. Isn't he cute? Now you can have his little arms however you like. Slip this one behind there. You can add mitts if you like. There we go. Isn't that cute? Now you could use this hat instead, right? Cut off the back hat and add this hat. So this is on an A2 size card base. You're going to want to sink him really low in there so he fits on that card front. But you can slip in his little sack of toys. You could slip in some gifts if you like. Have his little arms however you like. There we go. You could even cut off the lower part of his body just to have him sunk down in that sled more so he fits better. And there we go. Or you can make a larger card, like a 5x7, if you wanted to kind of have him sitting up higher. This is the 5x7. And you just have a little bit more room to play with. But you can certainly make them work and just slip them down a little further in the sled, right? So I'm just going to add on his little arms. And isn't he cute? You can have him kind of waving. Or you could slip in the presents as well. And there it is. So super cute set, a super cute item to add on with all your other little gnome projects, right? So that's what it looks like if you cut off his hat. And there you go. So thank you for watching and get shopping, everybody. See you soon. Bye.